Julianne Hough, you know her as an Emmy Award-winning dancer, an actress, host, producer, entrepreneur, all those things. Us dancing on stage together. I haven't seen you in a while. Hello, joining us via Zoom. I did not know that you were a big Gary fan. I hear you read The Seat of the Soul during a chapter of your life that you call the death hole pit of shit era.
You got it, Miss Winfrey. First of all, I love you. I'm so happy to see you
Good to
again
see you
after
again. Good to see you
our
again.
beautiful time on stage in 2020. But yes, that was a very specific era. And I found this book, The Seat of the Soul by Gary, and it truly was hitting the moment. It was the perfect timing,
What was
you
going on
know?
in your life, though? What was the death hole pit?
Well, it was after, pandemic was happening. I had gone through a divorce. I had lost my dogs. A lot of outside circumstances that were actually an activator of the unraveling of what I am now understanding to be more of my personality and reaching to that seat of my soul. And so it was this unraveling of all these outside circumstances that I had put into place as a form of protection, as a form of these are the things that are going to keep me safe. This is the thing that I know. This is my personality. This is familiar. This is how I know I can receive love. This is how I know I can, continue on in my life. And unfortunately slash fortunately, as that started to unravel, I was in that death hole pit of shit for quite some time, just
Wow.
sitting there. And I think that was truly one of the most important seasons of my life because it gave me the time, the space, and the solitude to really find the wisdom, I think, of my own soul.
Hmm.
And this book was also one of those key liberating moments where I felt like I didn't have the words to articulate. Obviously, I use my body as
Hmm.
my language.
Right, right.
um, but the words that Gary used and uses just made me feel like, oh, I get it. I understand. I have been living from my personality and trying to connect to my soul and having moments of inspiration, but the familiarity was so strong of what I felt was safe, but was actually keeping me from my purpose, my mission, my connection.
You say, I know you told our producers that Gary's book has shifted how you make decisions in all of your relationships. And then that happened to me too. How so for you?
Well, I love that Gary talks about soul agreements. I
Hmm.
think that a lot of the times, you can see these outside circumstances, relationships, whether they be romantic or, friendships, even the way that I
Working relationships, all of it.
work with relationships, everything. And I think what I'm so grateful for now is like, wow, this is an opportunity. This is a soul agreement. This is a moment for me to level up and learn something, not with what I can get, but what I can learn. And I see these challenges sometimes in relationships as, wow, I guess it's like a little game. I'm like, ooh, I guess I'm like ready to level up and I'm here to learn something. And when I look back in hindsight, I see them as the most beautiful blessings in my life versus the hardest, even though they were very challenging and probably the hardest seasons of my life, I can look back now and say, like, wow, this completely transformed my life. And I'm so grateful for this connection.
Did it also help you have more compassion for yourself?
It helped me have compassion for myself and others.
Yeah.
I think there's also another chapter in there that talks about like predator and prey. I
Yes. Uh
think
huh.
sometimes, we can be a victim feeling like, everybody's out to get me and can I just get a break? um, but I think when you can realize that we all play that role at some point, even with the best intention sometimes,
Hmm.
you can have compassion for others as sort of like that's their behavior, that's not their soul, that's their personality,
That's
and
right.
also my and also my own, and like, I'm not perfect. I don't intend to be perfect, but I hope that I will have enough awareness that I can be more of an observer of my behavior so that my soul, which I also love, which is when your personality can serve your soul. So, and that's the highest embodiment of your true authentic power.
Authentic
And so,
power. That's the
yeah,
greatest lesson. That was my great takeaway. Was that yours too? Yes.
absolutely my takeaway. And it's so incredible when you can feel it, and I think, when we were on tour together, I felt like I was tapping into my soul's purpose, my soul's mission with Kinergy. And I think because of these outside circumstances, I didn't build my muscle enough to feel that strength in order to hold that. And so I went into familiar for a little while. And now, again, with those opportunities and that time to sit in that death hole pit of shit, um, it gives you that time to build and to grow that muscle and to trust. And I think that was the hardest lesson for me, was to actually trust that I was worthy, that my soul's mission and my dharma was worthy enough to be seen. And so, yeah, I think now I feel like, as you mentioned, I host, I produce, I dance,
Yeah, all those things.
They're all my personality, but they are here to serve really, truly
The
this
bigger
next
purpose.
chapter and bigger purpose of my life.
Yes. May I say, I'm so sorry about that you had to sit in the death pit of, you know what? And I'm really
Yes.
sorry to hear about your dogs killed by coyotes. I know.
Correct.
I know. I live in California, and it's like we never let Sadie out by herself. It's just like watching a child all the time. Yes.
Absolutely is. And again, those were really, really hard times. And
coyotes are walking around in broad daylight in the middle of the day now.
or park,
Yes.
going to the grocery store. Yeah.
Yes, they're out. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Of course. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you.
Sending you love.